Alright, so here is the example of finding a common denominator between 5 over 6 and 4 over 5. So the first step over here to the right of the screen is to identify the denominators, which I've determined are 6 and 5. And then I have to list out the first few multiples of each denominator. So I've already written those out. I did 6 times 1, which is 6, 6 times 2, which is 12, 6 times 3, 18, 6 times 4 is 24, 6 times 5 is 30. And I just stopped right there. You can keep going, but I just list out the first few multiples. And then for 5, I did 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on. So the third step is to highlight the first multiple that each denominator shares in common. So I'm going to look at these two lists, and I'm going to see if there's any numbers that these two lists share in common. And I notice that we have the number 30 that both numbers share in common. So this is going to be the least common denominator. So now I'm going to rewrite the fractions. We have 5 over 6 and 4 over 5. And we have the common denominator of 30. I'm just going to write that in there beside each fraction. And now we're going to rename the fraction using the muscle man method, which is whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. Remember a muscle man. When he flexes up and he flexes down. So I'm thinking 6 times what number gave me 30? So I can look back at my list that I made and I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did 6 times 5, which is equal to 30. So I'm going to do the same. Up top, 5 times 5, and I know 5 times 5 is 25. And now let's look here. 5 times what number gave me 30? I'm going to look back at my list. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 times 6 is equal to 30. So I'm going to do 4 times 6, which I know is 24. And so in the next week's lesson, you will learn to compare these fractions now that they have similar denominators. But that is for another lesson. For right now, we are just going to be identifying the least common denominator between two fractions and then also renaming the fractions using the muscle man method. Thank you so much.